This is 110, and it's worth 4 plus 2, which is 6. Now if we wanted this to keep this pattern 110, but shift it all over across 1, then how do we move over one position? Let's increase this position. So this will have the position 1, and then this will have position 2, this will have position 3. So they've all moved over by one position, and now we've got a different number, which is 12. But that's the same as just multiplying this whole value by 2. But we may have some extra data in here because we're going to be storing these values in different parts of the variable. So we want to ignore everything above those positions and everything under those positions to get back to the original value. So let's put a random number in a higher position. Let's say position 6. So that's 64, and then we add that on here, and then we get 76, which is, if we ignore that one down there. So we have our 12, but then it's changed it to 76 because we've added this other data we don't really care about. So first let's get rid of that data. So if we divided by that position, just divided, then that would move all of this stuff down into the decimals, and then we'd get these higher values out, which isn't what we want. We want to get the stuff that doesn't go neatly into the into those positions instead. If we change this to remainder, we need to divide by the next position up, so that all the stuff from that position up gets ignored and we get just the stuff beneath it. So let's make this one position higher, which would be 4. 4 being the this is position 3, and then we want to find the remainder after dividing after position 4, so that we just get the positions 3, 2, 1 and 0, and we get our 12 back out. So if we ignore that, remember from the value we actually want to keep, we have 12. But even with this other stuff above it, we can just ignore that by doing this kind of operation and get back to that 12. But now we already shifted all this up by one position as well, so then we need to shift it down one position, which means dividing it by that position that the number of positions we moved it by, which was 1. So let's set this to represent position 1. And then divide this 12 by that. Go divide and see what that gives us. And we're back to our original 6. So this value is somewhere in the middle of our huge complete value with binary digits, and we just kind of cherry picked the part that we wanted. So we have like a range between position 1 and position 3, and we got just that range and kind of reconstituted it over here. And that's how we're going to make our partial binary variables. Yeah, we have a value that is 6, and we wanted it to store in the from the first position, which is moving over that 6 value over by one position. So we can actually just get a value slider, set it to 6, and then move that whole thing over by 1 by, let's move this up here, we can just copy that. So we want to move it over by one position, so we're setting that to 1, and then multiplying this value by that power, and then we don't need all of this. So to store values using this system, we don't actually need all of this stuff with individual 1s and 0s switches turning on and off. We can just delete all that, and we can just multiply the original value we want by the positions we want to skip along, and then add it in, and that still gives us the 76, and it still spits out 6 on the other side. So now we have a simplified way of moving the original value along, and then a way of getting it out over here. An even simpler way would be, instead of having this calculator, remember this calculator just gives us a 2, which is 2 to the power 1. I'm using L1 and square on this to get a direct input thing, and then we can delete it and put 2, click on done, and now we don't need that at all. We're just multiplying 6 by the right power we need to move it along, and then we're still getting 6 out the other side. So this is a very simple piece of logic to store the value, and we can do the same over here. So instead of using these calculators to find the powers, we can just find out what they are. So that's 16, so let's just set that to 16, and this one is getting 2 from that one, so let's just put a 2 in there, and now we don't need those, and we're still getting the 6. So to get stuff out, it's 2 gadgets. To put stuff in, it's 1 gadget plus some sort of logic to add it all up. So all we really need beyond this kind of little template here is these values. So this is position 1, that was position something else, and that was position 1 as well. So these values are really the only thing you need to plug into this template, which I have over here. So I've got position 0, position 1, going all the way down. I'd like to thank Jack Power, WoodSense, Mobius DT, and all of my other supporters for making this tutorial possible. Check out TAPgiles.com to find out how you can support me in helping Dreams creators. Thanks for your consideration, and I'll see you in the next one.